What is up, folks? Let me post this in a few places before I get started. Give everyone a few minutes to join the stream. Can everyone hear me? Just audio check. All right. Okay, sounds good. Well, welcome. Hope everyone is enjoying their Sunday. I know that everyone wants me to just quickly go over, this case study, the bull and bear case for iron finance. But let me just go over some housekeeping items first before we get started. So I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's live stream, Farmers Only. Farmers Only is the #1 dating site for farmers like you and I, because farming can be a really lonely job, like you're just sitting in front of your computer all day. But with Farmers Only, maybe we can seek meaningful connections and you can find the man or woman of your choice, of your dreams. It's a joke, obviously. But anyways, so also I have a video coming up with the rug doctor. It's like a pretty long video, 40 minutes. It's probably coming out Tuesday or something. But it's a really good one. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. But rugs can get pretty expensive because in the bull and bear market, developers are gonna rug, and there's no way to avoid that. So you have to use tools like Rug Doctor, which is a free resource for everyone to use. And I mean, they updated the website. They have a farming calendar where you can plan your apes going forward. They have a Wikipedia page that you can just go over resources and whatnot. So I'll have the Rug Doctor on. She was great. But yeah, because rugs can get expensive. I mean, the rug is $5,000. I mean, people talk about transitory inflation, but I see real inflation right there. Also, in terms of other liquidity mining programs, 0x recently announced a $10.5 million liquidity mining program. So this is going to be similar to Sushi, where you're going to be paid to provide liquidity. So $7 million in MATIC and $3.5 million in the 0x token. I actually like the 0x token. I think a lot of people use 0x without really knowing it, right? It's like the API behind a bunch of aggregators and exchanges, so I'll be looking forward to that. And also, 0x Maki, who's one of the lead developers for Sushi Swap, posted, they've just made a bunch of money. And I asked him when X Sushi, because the problem I have with Sushi right now is that I can't use it as collateral. I can't really stake it anywhere. I can't provide liquidity, but I don't want to deal with impermanent loss. But what X Sushi is you can do this on the Ethereum blockchain, where you can stake your sushi on the Sushi Swap app, and you can earn a 0.05% fee on all trades, proportional to your share of the pool. So Omakase Bar, who's part of the Sushi, ecosystem, also said that this week they're gonna start allowing trading for X Sushi, which I think is really cool because it gives me a reason to go along Sushi, because I like sushi, but I just don't want to buy something that I can't really use, like a productive asset or as collateral. So there's that. And here's what I'm doing with AAVE. Nothing has changed. You can call me a boomer. I'm still farming degen. I'm probably gonna get out of this soon, just because my initial plan was to farm 150 degen, and I'm almost getting there, so I'll probably pull out soon. Whoops. But I haven't really made changes to my portfolio in terms of moving assets around, because recently I've just been too busy focusing on content, and I haven't really been focusing on farms and whatnot. And I guess also I have exclusive rights to this new feature that AAVE is going to roll out. I have exclusive access because I'm a YouTuber, and we get that kind of stuff. But they're adding a new asset that you can post as collateral on AAVE. And if Bitcoin taught us anything, it's that scarce assets have a lot of value. So here's a screen share of what I'm doing on the beta program. I'm currently using one of my kidneys as collateral because I was about to get liquidated in the May dump, and I really did not like that. So there's a limited amount of kidneys in the open market. It's roughly the market rate is like $14,000, and I'm earning 2% APY on my kidneys. So like maybe in like 20-30 years, I'll have a second kidney on AAVE that I can like withdraw. And also MATIC is paying me 2% APR, which is totally great. It's hard to keep a straight face when I'm making these like random jokes, but someone shared this in my Discord. I forget who. Maybe it was like Wolfie, one of my mods, but yeah, props to anyone that made this meme. Okay. Also, last thing I'll go over before the iron finance, I guess, pitch is malt, right? So obviously this thing like kind of collapsed. Yeah, it's like I mean, there's like no good charting tool out there, but like 20 cents, it's been awful. But I just want to briefly go over like why I entered this, even though I was like uber bearish, and I guess like my stance on algorithmic stablecoins. So this is my Discord. I said like, I don't know how malt works. This is on the 10th. I just put a tiny amount on there to experience an algo stable form. I'm pretty sure this project will crash and burn soon, LMAO. And then everyone got excited, like, oh, let's go all in malt. And I'm like, okay, like, I should not endorse this Ponzi. I'm gonna dump this before I sleep so people don't blame me when this collapses. And I don't want to like knock on the team, right? Because I actually joined their voice chat on their Discord. Yeah, I joined their voice chat, and like there was like this AMA session with the developer and like 100 other people, and this developer was like answering all these like ridiculous questions. Let me know if you were in the voice chat. But like there was like this guy that was like asking him, the lead developer, like, hey, like, do you have plans on incorporating as an LLC? It has tax advantages, and if you're gonna hire employees, then it's beneficial to have an LLC. And I'm like, dude, like this guy literally made an algorithmic stablecoin that's probably gonna go to zero. Like the last thing on his mind is incorporating his company. But nothing against 0x Scotch. I think like he actually did a good job of like communicating and being transparent and whatnot. But I just I got out like 50%. I put 1K and pulled 1.5K out. And the thing with like malt is that like I'm not bearish on malt specifically just because like I didn't like their the tech, right? But I'm just on a macro scale, I'm just uber bearish algorithmic stablecoins. Arthur 0x said this in one of the podcasts. Arthur 0x is the founder of Defiance Capital, one of the bigger DeFi VCs. And he essentially said like, yeah, there's when he was asked about algorithmic stablecoins, he said, yeah, there's probably going to be one or two that succeeds, but the other 1,000 is going to go to zero. And I think that's a pretty good, I guess, overview of how I view algorithmic stablecoins as well. Is that if you can find the thing that works, you're probably going to retire, but everything else is going to go to zero, right? There's been, I mean, to this date, hasn't been like a successful algorithmic stablecoin. I don't think Amplefort is successful because it's so volatile. So I'm just thinking like, okay, there's been like a few hundred algorithmic stablecoins that launched. They all went to zero. What are the odds of the next one succeeding? Very close to zero. So probabilistically, it's very unlikely that algorithmic stablecoins on like whatever chain will succeed. But the thing is, with algorithmic stablecoins, people get super excited about like these stablecoins because I don't know, like it was like shilled all over my Twitter. It was like shilled and like I don't know, social media, like everywhere. And I'm like, okay, like I guess these influencers are going to be my exit liquidity. So I just put $1,000 in, pulled 1.5K out before I went to sleep. And now it collapsed. And I always see this argument that like, Malt's going to succeed because the developer cares about his project, right? He like spends time on it. But that's like one of the worst arguments anyone can make, right? It's like, I care a lot about my dick, but it's not going to make it grow any bigger, right? Like that argument doesn't make any sense. Like, is there a product market fit? Is the tech good? It doesn't really matter how passionate the team is. It just matters like, what matters at the end of the day is if it's going to work or not. But that being said, let's go over Iron Finance, because Iron Finance, very impressive. Like 1.7 billion locked, mostly on Polygon. Iron, the stablecoin, is $500 million. That's a lot. That's crazy. Did not expect this when I saw this for the first time. And Titan, $33, $32, it's crazy. And if you look at the farms, roughly $1 billion, right, is in the Iron USDC pool, which is generating like 500% APY. So like, pretty interesting. Pretty bummed that I did not get part of this, because if anyone was early on this, imagine getting in like mid to late May. Like, these guys are rich and they're laughing at us. So I figured that I might as well do a case study. Let me go to the presentation tab of, Iron Finance. What's the bull and bear case? Because obviously it's been amazing for anyone that's been in it, but are there any risks associated with it? Let me just make sure that my stream is capturing the presentation. One sec. Okay, cool. Okay, so I don't know if I need to do this, but this is like my first ever case study. So I'm just gonna, to prove that, I'm coming from a neutral background. I'm not in this right now, and I won't be in it for the next 5 days. Just to prove my neutrality. I don't know if like people care about this, but just the first time I'm doing it, I'm just gonna say this, right? And 5 days is nothing, but like, just proving that, I'm not gonna ape into this after my live stream. So yeah, just that. And I wanted to do this case study because obviously, like I said, early birds in Iron Finance is like laughing at us, right? It's like, haha, you idiots, I'm rich and you're holding like random shit coins. So if we can understand what made it successful, maybe we can identify the next great farm, right? Because like it doesn't, like, obviously, like if you were in it, like it's great, but like I think the important part is let's try to understand why it worked. Because if you understand that, then in the future, like you'll be a great farmer, right? Like if you just get in a successful farm once, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's all about consistency. So I'm just gonna go over like why I thought it was successful and where I see it going forward. So just a general overview: Iron Finance, farm on Polygon, centered around their Iron token, which is a fractionalized stablecoin, roughly 3/4 USDC and 25% Titan, where Titan is the farm token. Okay. I know there's a lot of people that say like Titan is not the farm token, Titan to the moon. But like, if you were to enter a 2-year coma tomorrow, would you own Titan? Probably not. So, like Titan is the farm token, right? And in the next 24 months, it's probably going to tank to zero. Or not zero, but like it's probably going to go down. But the question is like how much more room does it have to grow? I think that's the question. And I don't know if you can see this, but essentially, let me move this up here. But essentially, they went live on the 18th of May, 2021, on Tuesday. All right. They were previously on Binance Smart Chain, but they moved over to Polygon. And if you look at the markets when they first launched, it was like literally right there, right? Right before the dump happened. Right before the markets went uber bear and everyone is in Wojak mode. I think Bitcoin was 46K, 47K roughly, right when they launched. And this is May 22nd, so a few days, like a day after the biggest dump when Bitcoin dipped below 30K. And I essentially said, I'm gonna go risk off. I'm not gonna be in these degen yield farms anymore, because I think after people lose like half of their net worth, the risk tolerance is not gonna be there anymore. So I'm gonna not do degen yield farms in the time being, but I'll get into these safer farms with lower yield, but I'm confident that I won't get rugged in. That was the case. So yeah, focus was on focusing on stablecoin farms, since degenerate Ponzis are unlikely to perform or likely to underperform. So keep in mind that like Iron Finance like literally launched on the 18th of May, right? When like the market just went full bear, right? Just copying that. And I think the timing of this was pretty incredible, or I don't want to say lucky, but like pretty great, because if you think about I guess the tokenomics of Iron Finance, Titan, and Iron, 25% is backed by the volatile asset, right? The farm token, which is required as collateral. This requirement creates both a natural demand for the volatile asset as well as value capture. Also, whenever you mint Iron, right, you deposit USDC. and Titan, like the 25% Titan is burned, right? So it's effectively like the supply becomes deflationary because the supply contracts, and usually price goes up when this happens. But when the user redeems the iron token, the protocol pays back the USDC, like roughly 75%, and mints the required amount of Titan. So both of these quotes I got directly from their documentation, so I'm not making shit up. So let's first agree on the fact that as long as iron is being minted every single day, the price of Titan is most likely going to go up, right? Just because it's being burnt. However, as soon as people start redeeming the iron, then the price of Titan should go down because there's more Titan in circulation, right? So let's just agree on that topic. So, like I said, I think, I don't want to say luck, right? Because like, I guess success is like when luck and preparation, I forget the saying, but I speculate that Iron Finance like luckily launched at the perfect time when demand for dollar-based yields were at an all-time high in 2021. And I argue in the last like 12 months, or like 15 months, I think like demand for stablecoin yields are at an all-time high. And I mean, literally like $1 billion. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. So I think this is like what the reflexive loop is going on right now. So there's demand for stablecoin yields, and people mint iron as a result. So which puts burn pressure on Titan, and the yields go up because yields are being paid in Titan, right? So if the Titan price goes up, the yields go up. And as people see the yields go up and the Titan go up, people get rich, people start shilling it on social media, like, haha, like, hey guys, I was in Titan since $10. What are you in? Bitcoin? Ha, what a boomer. I'm rich, you're poor. And you know, that's gonna keep happening. And then, you know, these people are gonna look at the market like, oh yeah, like Bitcoin is like, it's crabbing, it's going sideways. And then people start going into these stablecoin farms, or just demand for stablecoin yields go up, and this reflexive loop keeps going. And you know, as long as this keeps going, as long as the iron printer is, you know, going burr, I speculate that it's going to keep working, right? It's going to keep going up, Titan's going to keep going up, etc. But this, you have to also notice that, you know, this also works on the other side as well. So let's imagine like you flipped this slide on the shoulder. What if the demand for stablecoin yields go down? Well, people will redeem their Titan, which will increase selling pressure of Titan. Yields go down, people get less excited. People are like, oh, I sold the top, haha, I sold the top. Are you still bag holding Titan? You know, people are gonna start like shilling their like, the people are gonna start like looking for clout that way. And then, you know, it doesn't really matter where the markets look garbage. It's like, well, Titan went down. Maybe there's another farm that I can get into, and like, and people will like move their funds over, because liquidity at the end of the day is not loyal. People will just go to where the best yields are with like the lowest rug potential. And I think iron has pretty low rug potential. I don't want to say for certain. Sorry, I got distracted because of the Telegram alert. But yeah, that's essentially how I view it. And obviously, like the number of stablecoins going into DeFi is up and to the right. So that's a bullish case for iron, because I mean, I've said my thesis is that we go sideways. I think we're in a crab market. So as long as we're in a crab market, or as long as the market keeps going down, demand for stablecoin yields will be high, and in that environment, iron should do well. Okay, so you generally understand the bullish case for iron, but there are a few risks, right? Because you can't just look at the upside, right, and be blind to the potential downside. And I think this is a few potential ideas, risks that people should consider. But like I said, I'm having fun staying poor, so you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. Okay, essentially, demand, like I said, demand for iron is driving the yields, and demand for stablecoin yield is driving demand for iron. I mentioned this, but what if the markets go risk on, right? People might sell their stablecoins to buy Bitcoin or ETH, right? Let's imagine tomorrow, like, I don't know, like US buys Bitcoin, right? Not gonna happen. Like some like ridiculous bullish news happens, and Bitcoin has a 20% candle, ETH has a 30% candle. Then people are gonna just redeem their iron, sell their Titan to like buy things that, you know, have longevity, right? So, iron finance has worked because like they've only existed in a bearish environment. But I think that in a bullish environment, I think iron and Titan is gonna tank, because yeah, like for those reasons. I have a video. Oh yeah, because they did this iron peg analysis, which which like, don't get me wrong, this is very, very impressive because iron, the stablecoin, kept its peg when the market crashed, and some stablecoins it went up and down, and it wasn't like that stable. I think Tether went to like 90 cents or something, but I feel like iron maintaining its peg during a crash, that's great, but can iron maintain its peg during a pump? That's the question. Because like I said, USDC, when people mint iron, Titan goes up and everyone gets excited. But if people start if people start redeeming their iron, then there's just more Titan in the market supply, and then price has to go down. I mean, that's just like market, right? That's just supply and demand. And if you think about it, okay, so like I said, I guess both the bullish case and bearish case is like the amount of TVL that iron finance can grow is kind of constrained by the amount of money in the Polygon ecosystem, right? Because yes, I mean, iron finance has been great, and they have roughly 1.5 billion or 1.7 billion TVL. And that's already, and so if you say Polygon MATIC has a TVL of 10 billion, right, roughly, right, that's already saying that 17% of liquidity on Polygon is already on iron finance. And yes, people can like take leverage using AAVE. So maybe there's like $15 billion of liquidity, or even $17 billion if you're like really aggressive. Well, if there's $1.7 billion in iron and there's 17 billion liquid in a Polygon, then 10% of liquidity is in iron finance, right? So at some point, like, the TVL can't just going up and up and up. There has to be a limit somewhere, and it's I don't want to say dumb, but like you can't really assume that TVL is going to grow to like $5 billion when the TVL on Polygon is like $10 billion, right? That's just hopium. So that's something to consider. If you want iron to succeed and you hold the token, you better hope the Polygon TVL goes up, right? Because it doesn't matter how good it is in your eyes. It matters if there's more people coming onto the system. Because if the iron printer stops printing, then it might start like the reflexive loop on the downside. And I'm not sure about this. I'm just assuming things, but I don't think there's been a huge sell-off of Titan by the whales. And Titan the iron stablecoin hasn't really been battle tested when Titan experiences like a 50, 60, 70% dump. Because I think Titan had like a 20, 30, like 35% dump in the past. And, that got bought. And that was like totally fine. Like, it just kept pumping. But, this is a risk I'm considering, right? Like, I'm not saying it's likely, or I'm not saying like this is very likely, but I mean, imagine the whales, right? Like, imagine the whales with like tens and thousands of Titan. Like, when are they going to sell? Because they're going to sell at some point, right? So it's just like a house of cards. Like, can you sell before them, right? And at the end of the day, farms are zero sum, right? If you're making money, then someone else is losing money. And because iron finance is not the Federal Reserve. It can't just print money out of nowhere and just give it to everyone. The yields are coming from somewhere, and if you don't know where the yield is coming from, it's probably coming from you. And black swans are always possible. I mean, in March, iron finance, there was an exploit. I looked more into this. It seemed like there was nothing wrong with the code. There was like a human error with like one of the software that they used, which with like value DeFi. I don't fully understand this, so maybe you do your own research as well. But there's always smart contract risk. To my knowledge, the code itself is fine, but there was human error, and everyone's susceptible to human error. So that means that iron finance is susceptible to human error. That's just something to consider. And this is both bullish and bearish because the fact that they got exploited is bearish, right? But the iron finance team, they didn't leave. They like I guess they faced this problem head on and released like 2 articles like how we're gonna rebuild after this attack and how we're gonna do better. And obviously they've done better. So let's all give iron finance and its early supporters a round of applause. I guess they don't really need a round of applause because they're already rich and they don't really care what I think. But there was a 61% drop. Okay, that's cool. So that's a bullish argument as well. Because if iron can maintain its peg during a 61% drop, that's pretty good. And also, like, I'm bearish algorithmic stablecoins, but like I'm open to the idea that fractionalized stablecoins work. Because I mean, iron is backed 75% by USDC. And also, if you think about the TVL problem in the other way, the amount of iron that can be minted is also restricted by the amount of USDC available in the network, right? I don't have a good way to show this, but roughly there's like 1.65 billion on AAVE right now, and this is like where the majority of the TVL is for Polygon. So if the amount of USDC is like, let's round up, right, 2 billion, then there can only be like roughly 3 billion right iron like minted. So I think right now it's at 500 million. Was it? I can't find the tab. Yeah, there's like roughly 500 million iron, so it still has room to run. It's just that, like, when does this party stop? Because I think it will stop at some point. Maybe that's when Titan's at $100. Maybe it's at $40. I don't know. But you know, these are the risks that everyone should consider. Trying to give my objective view on iron finance. Yeah. So the bull case, to summarize it, if we continue a crab or down market, very good for iron finance. Because demand for stablecoin yields will be high and the iron printer will keep going, right? And also, like, right now there aren't like that great stablecoin forms, so you know, people are flowing to iron finance. What if tomorrow there's like this amazing sustainable stablecoin yield? Then maybe some people will take part of their iron and put it into like a new form, right? So you should always look out for what's happening in the market. But the bear case is a V-shaped recovery. I think in a V-shaped recovery, when the markets are bullish, I think people are going to start redeeming their iron tokens, and they're going to swap their Titan for whatever like asset with like longer staying power or better staying power. Also, bearish case, whales dumping. I mean, obviously, I don't know when they will, but you know, I'm sure there are like some big bag holders of Titan somewhere. Yeah, and then a bunch of people redeem iron. If a better stablecoin farm comes out, right now there's not any, but that could be one. Black Swan event, obviously, there's one as well. And at the end of the day, I'm just hoping because I missed out. Congrats to winners, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. And also, don't focus on like what people are saying in the chat, right? Because I'm sure I haven't been looking at the chat too much, but I'm sure there are people like, yeah, like this guy's an asshole. He's just like, he's coping because he missed out. Like, but like literally like this I just snapped this picture in the Discord. Like, people are like really planning to show whatever thing that they're in, because literally I found this on my Discord. Where is it? Like, literally people are like, oh yeah, dude, this guy is doing a live stream soon. We have to show the hell out of this chat. So like, you know, don't let your thoughts be impacted by what some anonymous dude is saying in my chat, because you know, what are their incentives? I don't know. So there's that. That being said, that's the end. I'm just going to quickly go over the chat to see if anyone has any good questions. I emphasis on the good questions. If not, I'll focus on like other things. Also, because like Curve Finance has $800 million, right, locked. I mean, Iron Finance overtook Curve. That's very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Yeah, this is crazy. $1 billion in the Iron USDC pool. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat, but you know what? It's too busy. I'm just gonna go into the last thing. Is that I was looking at the QuickSwap LPs, and these rates are pretty good. After this, I'm gonna go into the AMA. So similar to like Sushi and like I guess 0x too. Like Quick is giving away 900 Quick a day, so you can actually earn pretty decent yields. Hold on, let me go to page 1. Like USDC, USDT 20%. I mean that's okay. Link ETH 23, AAVE ETH 57, DAI ETH 72, ETH USDT 50. Look at Titan, yeah. MATIC Quick 90. I mean, these are pretty good yields. 60% on ETH USDC, 83% on ETH MATIC. I mean, this is like more of like the non-degen, like the safer people, right? MATIC USDC 400%, DAI USDC 57%. Maybe this goes down after this live stream because people actually take notice. Bitcoin USDC 40%. I mean, this might be better than like SushiSwap, right? Yeah, MATIC USDC 100%, right? That's little impermanent loss. That's crazy. With that being said, let's just go over to AMA. I'm not gonna, please don't show your favorite project in the chat. I'm not gonna go over it because the chances of it being garbage is like near 100%. So, I think I got like 145 responses. It's pretty cool. The first question I'd like to answer, and the reason I only take pre-submitted questions is because, you know, whenever I do a live stream, like people literally raid my chat just to shill their favorite coin, and at the end of the day, like 90% of the questions will be shills, scams, and like random garbage. So I do this to filter out like the garbage questions. Speaking of garbage questions, serious question. This guy bought $7,000 of booty. Can you do an analysis to see if it's good or bad? His son showed me my video, and he tried out DeFi with small capital. Much love from Italy. So yeah, let me do some fundamental analysis on the current situation. So it seems like your son saw my video and recommended it to you. You know, just so that, you know, maybe the family can become more, I guess, financially literate. And I think that's great. And the first thing you did was you bought $7,000 of booty. Okay, so first I don't have a child, so I can't give parenting advice. But I mean, if the first thing you do after your son like asks you to better your personal finances, I think the last thing I would do is to like spend $7,000 on booty, right? Because I think as a parent, if I had a son, I want to teach my son that, you know, you don't have to buy booty, you can earn it, right? And I think it's setting a bad precedent if you're like literally telling your son, hey, I bought $7,000 of booty, I don't know what it does, but maybe it goes up. So that's my thoughts on the situation. And I think you severely overpaid for $7,000 of booty. I don't know how good the booty is, but I don't know what the black market is like for booty, but I think you severely overpaid. So, you know, maybe look at the economics and do a more in-depth analysis of, you know, like your values, right? So there's one. So, okay, spelling error, whatever. Can the health factor on AAVE, essentially, like if I'm borrowing stable coins, can I get liquidated, right? And this is a pretty frequent question, common question. And the short answer is yes, because these stable coins, they're not like literally, I mean, they're pegged to $1 and Tether, USDC, DAI, they're pretty good. But, you know, they do fluctuate, right? So imagine if your health factor is like 1.01 and you're borrowing Tether and it spikes to like 1.02, and it turns out that in the same time, like DAI goes to 99 cents, right? I mean, if it even gets if it gets below the liquidation threshold, you're gonna get liquidated. So even when you're doing like safer stable coins, I think, I mean, I can't give like financial advice, but like maybe 1.1, like that's safe. But you should always assume like what's going to happen in the worst case scenario, right? Because the worst case scenario is the stable coin that I'm posing as collateral goes to 90 cents, 95 cents, and the stable coin that I'm borrowing goes to $1.05 or $1.10. In that scenario, do the math, will I get liquidated? And if you do the math that way, I think it's fine. Hodl the booty. All right. So is every algo stablecoin just a complex Ponzi? Kind of went over this, but I do think that every algo stablecoin is going to be a complex Ponzi. At some point, right, someone's going to come up with a new innovation that's going to figure it out, right? I do think at some point it will happen, but maybe that happens in the year 2025 or the year 2028, right? I simply do not know. So me as a market participant, like I'm not going to try to figure out what an algo, like what kind of economic model an algo stablecoin like what kind of model will succeed, I'm just going to be bearish like just this entire sector, because it's not worth my time to spend like study algo stablecoins. I don't think it's worth anyone's time. And I think in terms of like your hourly, it's better off spent somewhere else. Okay, I'm gonna ban this guy. Spamming oink. How do I do this? All right, I timed them out. I don't know how to ban people, but I timed them out. Under what circumstances will iron on peg? I guess I kind of went over this, but I guess like if there's like a sustained dump on the price of Titan, like that could be a risk. But the design of iron isn't that bad because it's backed 75% by USDC, which is like the safest stablecoin. So worst case scenario, your iron goes to 75 cents. And there's this question of like how much impermanent loss will I incur if iron dumps 50%? Well, iron can't dump 50% unless there's like some serious flaw in the code. Worst case scenario, it goes to 75 cents. And if that happens, then the impermanent loss you'll incur is 1%, according to this calculator. According to this calculator. So if you're providing liquidity in terms of impermanent loss, like you're not going to get wrecked in that way, most likely. But I guess if iron goes to 75 cents, Titan, the token, is probably like 5 cents, so your yield will be like near zero. But in terms of risk, I don't think there's that much risk. So AAVE rates we're gonna reduce on the 15th, so in a few days, which is quite sad, but it is what it is, right? I mean, the money printer can't keep going on. Are there other valuable methods to accrue MATIC? So sushi is one. So in terms of like just farming MATIC outright, there's sushi, there's Curve, and 0x is gonna come up with one soon. And also like you can also consider the idea that let's say you're in iron finance and you like Titan, you want to capture the upside, but to de-risk, you want to sell every day, maybe like every 12 hours, you want to sell half of your Titan that you've accumulated to like buy MATIC, right? Because essentially, if you're farming Titan and you sell off like half of Titan, you're effectively splitting your farming, I guess, yield, like 50-50 with MATIC and Titan. So that's another way to think about it, because that's what I did when I farmed 10,000 MATIC in 2 weeks in mid-May. I literally farmed like garbage Ponzis. I dumped everything for MATIC, and MATIC went up, and I was ecstatic. Let's see. How to know if an app is secure? Well, you got to use. I have a video coming with the Rug Doctor, but yeah, I think Rug Doctor is one of the best tools out there. And I know this isn't the best answer, but the higher the TVL is, it's more likely to be safe, right? Because whales aren't going to deploy millions of dollars into an app if they look at the code and it's bad. So it's not the perfect solution, but on average, a farm with 100 million TVL is safer than a farm with $10 million. That's just how it is. Ideal collateral ratio for AAVE. I mean, like I mentioned, like for stablecoins, maybe 1.1 or like whatever the math ends up being, but there's no perfect answer because you have to do the math on like, what if my collateral falls 50%, right? What if Bitcoin dumps again? Well, what if Bitcoin goes to 20K? Then, ETH will probably dump harder, MATIC will dump harder, and in that worst case scenario, will I get liquidated? And that's the question you need to answer. You just got to do the math yourself, right? I mean, you're dealing with finances, you're dealing with money, so you should figure out like how the math works. How is it possible to generate these yields? They say if you don't know where it's coming from, then you're the yield. Yeah, like everything is zero sum. The yields are coming from the farm token, right? Because so literally like they're not minting like USDC and giving it to you. Like they're minting new farm tokens. And maybe they trick you by saying like, oh, stake Titan to earn USDC. I don't want to use that example, but essentially like whenever you farm, you're being paid in a farm token. So if the farm token goes to zero, then the APY is zero. If the farm token keeps going up, then the APYs will keep going up. So everything is zero sum. Just understand that. And if you don't really understand what the hell is going on, then yeah, you might be the yield, right? You might be the yield. This is more like a heavier question. Like, what's the government impact? What do you think the government impact will have for crypto in the long term? China FUD, etc. I mean, my personal view is that, if a crypto asset is decentralized, then I don't really see what the government can do. The government can delay, like if they want to ban something, or like if they want to like make it harder to own something, then yeah, like they can't do that, and it's gonna hurt the markets. But in the long term, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum will end up working because they are the most decentralized. But it is a threat, right? I mean, the boomers in the White House and like in Washington, like they're gonna FUD this thing to death. Like so, that's why I like holding a bag of stablecoins, just so like I can buy the dip on the downside, and I'm also protected. And that's also why Bitcoin is the majority of my portfolio. ETH is the second largest position in my portfolio because it has less downside risk, and they still go up a lot. So, can you explain EV and TVL into the decision-making process? So EV stands for expected value, right? So whenever I go into a farm, I just think about, okay, what is my EV of this farm? And that process is more of an art than a science. You'll understand that like once you start farming more, but I would say like if you're new, just start out small and like get a feel for these farms, and over time you're just gonna understand, oh yeah, this thing is garbage, but I'm gonna eke out as much profit as I can. Or you can say, okay, this thing has lower yield, but I think it's sustainable, so I'm going on vacation, I'm not gonna be in my computer for 7 days, so I'm just gonna be in the safer, sustainable form, so I don't have to worry about like managing it. And TVL, it's always a good question, but it doesn't matter what the TVL is right now. It matters where the TVL is going, because anyone could have easily said like, oh, Titan is already at 200 million TVL, so I'm gonna get out because that's really, really high. And Polycat only went to 250 million TVL. No, well, that's not a great way to think about it, because if you're stuck in it, then you would be up so much money. And like I mentioned in my presentation, I kind of just went over like why it was so successful. And it was like a combination of good tokenomics and good timing. So that's part of like the EV equation as well. Because getting into a farm with 10,000 TVL just because it's low doesn't mean it's the smartest decision. If more funds come in, more money comes in, are the rates sustainable? If like the TVL and DeFi goes to like a few $1 trillion, then obviously the yield will go down. Like that's inevitable, right? But that's the point. Like we're early in DeFi. That's why these high rates are there. It's also risky, right? Because we're early. So that's why these rug pulls exist. But I mean, that's the job of the farmer, to navigate these farms and etc. I already went over this, so I'm gonna skip that. I have Bitcoin DeFi. So like I mentioned, I own a lot of Bitcoin, or in terms of like size of my portfolio. And there's like these new Bitcoin DeFi projects like Stacks and Sovryn. Me personally, like I love Bitcoin. I hold Bitcoin, but I'm pretty bearish on Bitcoin DeFi. Like I don't know why Bitcoin people think that they need to build DeFi for Bitcoin. I think wrap Bitcoin on Ethereum will do the job. I don't think you need to like actually build things on Bitcoin. Bitcoin should just be this boring little digital rock that does nothing, and it's just really good at spinning itself. So who knows? Maybe I'm wrong and Sovryn pops off, right? But if Sovryn pops off, right, then I'm already exposed to Bitcoin, because if Sovryn is like going off, right, it's like top 20 project or whatever, then that means that Bitcoin is doing well. So I'd rather just expose the upside of Bitcoin DeFi by just holding Bitcoin. On my tits long crypto, so I'm not 100% crypto. I do own stocks, right? Call me a boomer. I own stocks. I own more crypto than stocks, but you got to manage the downside, like, because I mean, I think Bitcoin and ETH is here to stay, but you always have to be like, what if we enter a prolonged bear market? Like, will I be fucked financially if I'm 100% tits long crypto? And the answer is yes. So I'm not 100% long. So I own some like tech stocks. I own GBTC. I have an IRA, etc. So yeah, I kind of already answered this question. Mitigating risk for farming, rules do you follow? Like I mentioned, it's like more of an art than a science. So I just suggest everyone to like, just put like a few $100s and just like try it out, right? And once you feel comfortable, increase that amount if you like it. But generally, like, a rule of thumb is like the degen farms tend to last, or the safer farms last longer than the degen farms. So like I mentioned, like in the past few weeks, I've just been focusing on pumping out content. So my focus has been on being in these safer farms. Like I've been in this for, I don't even know, 3 weeks. And I'm just like stacking my degen because I know that this thing is not going to rug. It's offering me 50% APY. And as a boomer, as a crypto boomer, kind of like that. So, but yeah, that answers the question. Do more degen yield farming stuff. Thank you for your kind words. I will. So if Bitcoin were to enter, if the markets were to go full, holy shit. Damn, my live stream made Bitcoin pump. Okay, maybe I should do live streams every day because this is some bullish shit. I mean, but at the end of the day, like, I'm getting excited over this tiny green candle. Like after it went from 65K to like where it is now. And I'm sure if I go on crypto Twitter, everyone's like celebrating, like, yeah, bull market's back on. But guess what? Since, what is this? May 19th, we've essentially just gone sideways, right? Like I still think we're in a crab market. But imagine if Bitcoin just starts doing this, right? If Bitcoin just fucking goes ape shit, then I think iron will suffer. And this is the bearish case for iron. I think we're all conditioned to think that everything in crypto will do well when Bitcoin's going up. And usually that's true, right? But I think for like a stablecoin based farm, right? Like yields specifically centered around stablecoins, you kind of want the markets to be choppy or bearish. So, I mean, no one's getting out of bed for this tiny green candle, but it's pretty good. Yeah. Anyways, that's the end. Did I cover everything? I think I covered everything. So I guess now I'll open up to the chat. I've been going on for over 50 minutes. Need a drink of water, so feel free to spam your questions and I'll answer any good ones, right? I'm not gonna show your favorite coin. Yeah. Water is good. Let's check on the price. $34. My goodness. I was like really scared that the price of Titan was gonna dump after I did my live stream, and then everyone would just like shit on me because I was the top. But hey, maybe I got some new people in iron or something, right? But just so people don't claim that I'm like pumping things, like, yeah, I'm not gonna be in it for the 5 days. I'm not in it right now. So take that, haters. How's Chi doing? Oh, not bad, not bad. I have like almost 900 of these that I farmed. And this is like the farmer mindset, right? Like if you're farming Titan for free, then you're just happy with it going, if it's going up. I farmed this for free. It can go to 0, but I'm happy it's going up. Anyways, this boy thirsty. I'm thirsty, man. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Too many questions. Okay, this guy shilling this project. I will time you out. You see these guys? There's this like literally like they buy a fucking shit coin. It's going down. They don't know what to do, so they go on live streams and like copy and paste these messages. It's ridiculous. Mute when drink. Oh, sorry guys. I didn't think you heard that. All right, hold on. What's this chart site? It's called app.slingshot. Can I set into? Yeah, it's just Slingshot Finance. Here. It's this. It's that. Oh yeah, I guess also the bullish case for iron is like if like a new like lending and borrowing protocol comes out and you can collateralize your iron, then that might be really good. Actually, then that would make sense because the whole point of iron is to provide liquidity. So I guess not. Okay, time you out. Yeah, so this is the... I mean, this is the downside of like taking Q&A from the chat. It's just like 90% of them are garbage, and like the 10% with like good questions is just, I can't keep up with everything. Oh yeah, I can... How do I turn on slow mode? I'm a streaming scrub, by the way, so... Yeah, I have no idea. Okay. Views on auto compounding vaults. Yeah, that's a good question. I get this a lot. I get asked like... One of the biggest things I get asked about is Adamant. Right? Because they're like a hyper... It's like... For LPs, it hyper compounds, so you get better yields because some of these farms, they're APRs, right? So they're not being auto compounded. So if you can like outsource the auto compounding, then it might be something that's worth looking into. But according to the rug doctor, it's a new vault, unverified contracts, insufficient audit. It's very mitigating factors. It's very hard because the code is complex. So me personally, like, I think it's fine, but I don't want to risk it. So I'd rather just compound these things myself rather than like having a process that's automated. I do think they have like 200 million TVL, right? I think it's mostly from Iron Finance. Not sure. But I guess I'm like more boomer in the sense that I like to mitigate, I guess, any risk I can. Yeah, 240 million. I think it's mostly from Iron. Let's see. Yeah, so they have like 100 million from Iron. So like they're kind of reliant on Iron succeeding. So I don't know how I feel about that. Would I see MATIC in the next 5 years? I think... So I did a podcast with Noah Seidman, and he was very bullish MATIC because of the India narrative, and I do think that narrative makes sense because if you think about India, their economy isn't the best, but they have a great, like, their population is very very high, or is very big, and the Polygon team is like from India, right, straight up India, and India bans Bitcoin, or sorry, India bans crypto, and like everyone kind of like, or I guess the government doesn't like crypto, but if you think about ecosystems, you need good developers, right, to develop apps. And what Noah said was the Indian narrative is that these younger developers that looks at the success of like Sandeep and like the Polygon founders, they're not going to build on Ethereum. They might be more incentivized to build on Polygon. So this might be like you said, a 5-year plan. But I think I guess this sense of like nationalism as well. It's like, I guess Indian developers created Polygon, and people will keep building on Polygon like from that country because they just feel like, you know, they're proud of it. And it totally makes sense. It's like I'm Japanese. Whenever I see like Japanese sports players like succeeding, I get really excited, right? It's like that sense of nationalism is there. So that's the bullish case for MATIC as well. I don't cover BSC, sorry, but I'm sure other YouTubers do. Keep on doing these live streams to pump Bitcoin. Yeah, I'll try, man. How do you calculate taxes using DeFi? Short answer is like I have no idea, so I'm gonna pay someone to do it. Probably like token tax or something. I do have a spreadsheet where I keep track of like my P&L, and I think I'm like very careful with it to like capture like 90 to 95% of like my entire profit and loss. So, you know, I'll use that spreadsheet, and also, I mean, because like I make these videos, I kind of have to like be very professional, so I'm probably gonna hire someone to do that. If you borrow MATIC after lending MATIC, you will not get liquidated because, but I mean also like you're not really like what's the point, right? Like you have MATIC and you're borrowing MATIC, so like if MATIC goes down, then I guess. So the only situation where you want to borrow MATIC is like if you want to short it, right? So let's say if I borrow MATIC at like let's say $2 and I sell it in the market, right? So let's say I borrow 100 MATIC, sell it for $2, I have $200, and MATIC goes down to $1. Well, I can buy back 100 MATIC with my $200, right? So I can have 200 MATIC now, but I only have to repay 100 MATIC. So I just made 100 MATIC for free by shorting. But yeah, this is. Yeah, maybe I'll stop the stream here. Dude, 39K. Dude, what? I'm just gonna keep. Oh shoot. I'm just gonna keep this line on to see if it works, and so I can say that I caused a V-shaped recovery. Was there news? I don't know. Let's go on Twitter. I have no idea. Yeah, anyways, I think I'm in the live stream because the chat's too crazy. I think I covered some good stuff. Yeah, so I guess to wrap it up, Titan, Iron Finance, good job everyone that was in it. I hope you make money. If you're in Titan Finance, you better hope that this is a fake out, because I think if this keeps pumping, then people will start to redeem their iron. Just economic incentives. But my thesis is that we're gonna keep just crabbing. I think something like this is gonna happen, right? Where it's gonna go from like 30K to 45K, and it's gonna keep oscillating. It's gonna like chop people up. So that'll be good. Video with Rogue Doctor coming out. 0x partnership, liquidity mining programs, right? That's a safe farm that's coming out soon. X sushi coming on Polygon. AAVE is gonna allow you to collateralize your kidneys. I hope they expand to other organs, because kidneys are scarce, but it's not that scarce, right? I think something more scarce would be like testicles or something. Anyways, there's that. And to wrap up the stream, I want to thank my sponsor, farmersonly.com. If you're single and you're a farmer in front of your screen all day, go to farmersonly.com so you can meet a man or woman of your dreams. I am a man looking for a woman. My name is Taiki, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Let's see. This is a joke, by the way.